Hello. I'm just looking at that clock. My husband took it down. Maybe that's what it's like when we go into Dragon's Realm. Good evening. Right, I've got my chime here. Now, I must apologise. This one is water, and I'm going to get one for air. Now, right, well, the energy has certainly changed since Sunday. And I was just talking about this to my husband. And I've written about that in the book, about the last chapter section I wrote about before it went to publish was about the barometer and using a barometer and what you can do to practice to connect with the changes, like noticing what the birds are doing, noticing the clouds. I mean, we do this every day. Notice if there's a big black grey cloud. What's that? What's that saying? What's that meaning? And years ago, people would notice what the birds were doing. Right, so here we are. This is the proof copy. I'm still waiting for my other ones to come. This business of publishing the little things that you forget about, that because it went live today, I could only order my author copies today because I self-publish. So here she is. This is my white dragon, or a symbol of her. And we have Dragon Sacred Spiral, Breath of the Soul, Voice of Light. And what a journey this has been. This is the back. With Glastonbury Tour, we begin with meeting my white dragon and about where she comes from. And originally, her ancestors, her lineage, come from the stars. And you can find out all about it in the book. And now, of where our dragons, so many people love dragons. And dragons have walked on this earth, but in time that we have long forgotten. And now they live within the realms, like within like other mythological beings, spiritual light. They live within the realms, and they come and they guide us, and they come a little bit like a spirit guide, but they come and guide us. And so where we're going with this book is that it's all to do with the elements. And as soon as I started writing with my white dragon, I was channeling, go back to the basics, go back to the elements, thinking about your country, where your planet, our planet, where we live, and they go through a journey through elements. This is the first of 5 books. This is what they tell me. I haven't started writing book 2 yet, but I know more or less what it's about. We will do that one at a time. One at a time, she says. So we're learning about air, wind, and the direction of east. Some of you may already set altars up. Some of you, it might be totally new. And this whole idea is you have a few things in a little idea of a traveling altar. This is in the first sections. So you might have something like, I've got this gorgeous chime, which is a bit big to carry around with you, but you can do. But you might like something like this in your own meditation space. You might like crystals. Got a few little crystals here. This one's a blue lace agate, which is actually quite nice for air. But I've also got, this is my original white dragon. I've had this for quite a long time. And it's usually on my altar. And this is a new one I bought when I was in Glastonbury. I really quite like this metal going through it. And I bought this one in Glastonbury the other week. And then I've got some with the that I ordered from the wholesalers, which are tiny. I mean, honestly, the size of 50p a piece. I can't get it out. And these are opalite. So dependent on what you have in your, if you buy a book bundle from me, in the book bundle you'll either have a dragonstone or one of these. And it depends if somebody, so that's what they look like. But they're ideal. You'll also get a little pouch. I talk about a rucksack in the bag, but and these have got, you'll have a little bell in each. These are from the book box, the book bundle. Can't say that out. Hi, Janine. Yes, Janine, yes, doesn't matter. I'm just explaining. And then you'll get a little key. They're all different, the keys are. And you'll get a compass, a little charm. So this is a little bag of things that you can carry around with you, maybe when you're visiting special places, a little bell. The bell, wow, the bell comes into all the meditations. And very much with air, we talk about different things. Sound has become so important as I've started writing this book. And so when you have a bell or a chime, it's like in the first meditation in part 2, you will receive a tone to your bell that attunes you to your dragon. So at the beginning of journeys, you ring your bell, and then your dragon comes with you, and it's a signal. Sound, as I say, and tones and vowels became so important. I'm putting things down. So very important, and I've written this book. So the first part tells you and teaches you about and gets you to experiment and try things out. All the things that fit with air. And so sort of things like incense, essential oils, some crystals, feathers. I was changing the writing of the book halfway through. Originally, the book was going to be for women, and then halfway through, I decided to change it. So there's a bit of a switch over from the language in the book for being for women to being for everyone, because this is what I felt, dragons are not just for women, they're for everyone. So I've had a bit of a switch over. So there might be the odd language of priestesses in there, and I've been changing it over to dragon flame keepers. And a little bit annoyed with myself with that. But hopefully by the time I get my books, everything's ironed out. So the dragons want us to go back to basics, back to thinking about if we set our altars up. I mean, I put incense for air. Actually, I haven't written about swords, but I have this little sword that I usually have in my travelling altar. And usually that's in air. And I didn't write about swords, strangely enough. And then we might have feathers or crystals that go with the air element. And we also work with the east as well. And this becomes very important as we go through the book, because you realize that when you connect with air, you connect with east. And when we connect with the east, we connect with what the Druids call Arwen. And that is inspiration, creativity. And so the book becomes a journey of connecting with the air element, with wind, with the breath. And dragons like us to breathe slowly, purposefully, with intention. They're quite bossy as well, because I'm a fast talker, and that affects my breathing. So they keep trying to instead of train your dragon, the dragon's training me. So she's training me to speak slowly, more purposefully. And then you'll learn about feathers and scales. Now, scales, we have never seen a dragon scale, but we know a little bit about what a snake scale might be like. And so, but you receive scales from the dragons in the meditations. I can tell my mind is everywhere. I could have done with a script. Usually I make a bullet points of scripts, what I'm going to talk about. But so you receive a tone. Vowels are very important. You receive a vowel in this one, and for air the vowel is A, and it's ah. I never got much breath, but it's ah, and there's a movement to go with that. And I really ought to video myself doing that, because I haven't got enough space on this side of me. I can show you what that's like. So you get attuned to, first of all, in the first part of the book, you find out about where the dragons come from, and about meeting my dragon, and of course you'll meet your own dragon as well in the book, through the spiritual journeys. And then it's about these different tools that you can use for building an altar, and things you might like to have with you when you do the meditative journeys. And you can have a candle, and you can have some incense, and you can set yourself up with sacred space. Before we start the meditation part, you become attuned to air and the east and all that brings. And then there are 4 spirals, and in those spirals, the first you go to Glastonbury, and this is where I met my dragon, so perfect place to go to start with. And you go through, I talk about, in these chapters, I do talk about the names and how the place names have changed. And that felt very important. This is what was coming through with the dragons to talk about. And especially how the vowels have changed. And like with Avalon, sometimes in poetry is Avalon with an I, and then we say it with an A. So there's an interesting thing with vowels. And I do have in the earlier chapters a chapter about vowels. Now, vowels are like the breath of the soul, and you will be gifted a vowel in each book. And I say this one is A and it's R, and there's a movement to go with it. And it's a bit about chanting, really. And what I found in my research with vowels is that I know that the Cathar have that beautiful song that goes, I can't sing, it was A-I-O-U, and that's left over from the Cathars. But what I do know is that in early scriptures, in the early sort of Hebrew scriptures, they wrote with consonants, and they didn't use vowels. So in the writings, and the vowels that we have in the UK there are 5. I think there's about 14 different sounds, but I'm just working with these core 5. And the priests and the learned people would tell people how to sound the words, how to include the vowels sounds, so that they would speak with the breath of the divine, the breath of the soul. And there's a lot within the idea and concept of this book. I'm not sure if I'm getting it all the way through, but this is the concept I was bringing in, was of remembering old ways and old things. And so sounds, chants, tones become very important from this language with the dragons. I'm not sure if you've experienced that before, but this is what I'm getting. Now, interestingly, I've booked to go on a sound healing course with a gentleman that's really into dragons, and it's called a dragon sound healing course. Well, what else? And I think I get another crystal dragon and and again to receive some tones and some experiences how to work with these tubes. I like tubes. I like singing bowls, but I've never really fancied having them. Anyway, I digress. So in the book, the first journey is to Glastonbury and to go into the dragon's cavern under Glastonbury Tor to meet your dragon, receive your tone, receive the scale, and really connect with your dragon. Then the second journey within each spiral is to what I call as going into the unseen realms. So, and this is a little bit explorative. That's a word. I don't usually use that word, but it's exploration, explorative. And the whole idea with this is for that you to tap into what lay on the land before what we know. So say we know history going back, say to the Romans and maybe to that time in this country in the United Kingdom, but it's tapping into who walked the paths before. Now, you can't really tell on this picture, but if you look at an aerial picture of Glastonbury Tor, there are terraces, and there are 7 terraces, and you have to look at an aerial picture. You can't always see it when you're there, even, so an aerial picture is really good. So on the unseen meditation journey, you go around the terrace, and you go around this terrace and then up. And for each stepping, every time you're on the terrace, you are receiving. You're receiving colours, sounds, songs. I talk about songs, and really the songs may come to you as songs, as lyrics or songs, or they may come to you as an, oh, I've got a beautiful rainbow out there now. Oh, wow, I can't really show you, but can't tell you about the pile of things in my office. I'm clear behind me, apart from the clock that's the wrong way up. But out here, I've just got the faintest rainbow. And that's perfect because you might see the colours of the rainbow. And we do often connect with 7 for the 7 chakras, 7 colours of the rainbow. And it's just faint, it's just going out, it's in the clouds. So there's spirit guiding me because my energy's been quite low since Sunday. And I said to my husband, what happened? What's changed? And he said, the pressure's changed. We've been on a high for weeks, all that dry, no rain, high weather. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning, the barometric pressure. And it's changed, and it's heavy, and it's raining, and it's actually the sun's come out now, so that's quite nice. So in this second journey with at Glastonbury, it's like a labyrinth, I've said in the book. And there's also the labyrinth outside St John's Church. So if you're in Glastonbury and you've got these books with you, you can go round the labyrinth outside the St John's Church on the floor. And I've brought in this system, not really a system, but it's like 3 steps forward. So you walk 3 steps forward, and on the 4th step, you pause. Now, if Anne's watching this, she'll tell you, well, and Donna, they know this is what I was doing around our labyrinth at Forest Harvest. We were supposed to do 1 step back, but coordination in me is not the best thing. But so you've sort of like the idea of going 3 steps forward. Oh, that's good. Your bed and breakfast is near there at St John's Church. That's great, because you might, outside of St John's Church, you've got Holy Thorn. I love that church, and I'm thinking now, this is a church for the people, and this still stands. Whereas the main church, maybe for the monks and the friars, etc., that's the one that's been destroyed. But this one for the people still stands. But just outside of St John's Church, it's got a white dove coming out. On the right-hand side, you'll see in the grass there is a labyrinth, and it's not that big, but you can walk round that and purposely feel into going round it and just asking to receive. It's just a lovely experience around the labyrinth. And so there's lots to receive in the second audio in Spiral 1. Now, there are 4 spirals, 2 meditative journeys in each spiral, and there are 8 meditations. They're all recorded. Now, there is a code within the book, the Kindle or the paperback, to receive, to download the audios for free. And they're all on my website, and there's a page that you can go to on my website that links to them all. You can find them, we had to find them in the search, but there is a page that links to everything as well. It sort of gives you a bit of information. Not a lot of information, but there's a bit there. There's information in the book about each of the sites that you go to, and again about the names and what they were called before and how they've changed over time. And what I was really digging into when I was writing was, what were they called before? Because names of places seem so very basic, very basic. So, you know, and I felt that there's more that we don't know and we've lost. And this was something I was trying to tap into. Now, the second journey from Glastonbury is to go to Wales, to Snowdon. And where I've placed journey 1 is you go sort of like round Snowdonia with your dragon, but then you go to a gold mine on the sort of the Snowdon slopes, and you received a gift within the gold mine and a symbol. And then the second journey is there's another mountain that's very close by, and it's nearly as high as Snowdon, and it's called Cairn of 20. And I can't pronounce the Welsh. I am rubbish at this. I need to learn to speak better Welsh, to be honest. But especially on my druid path. Yeah. So and on that you go and meet the council, the dragon councillors, and that's really nice. And then the third spiral, you go to the Isle of Man, to the Isle of Carf, and there are 2 meditations there, one with some lighthouses to receive from the light, and one to receive from the sleeping. Well, there's like a stone arch of a dragon that looks like a dragon drinking, and you tap into the energy of that place. And then in the 4th spiral, you go to a place in Ireland. It's in Northern Ireland on the east coast. And I might pronounce this totally wrong, so somebody's bound to correct me. But it's a gorgeous shape of a mountain. I really wonder how it was made altogether, this shape of this mountain. And it's called Belbulben. And it's now, just come back a bit. Snowdon, the Welsh name means that it is the burial place of a giant. And I always feel like, well, what else was it of this giant? I'm always into that, and I'm always into, well, what else was it? So this is where I'm sort of going with this, and you'll find this going through the book. And then this place in Ireland, it was a burial place of two mythological lovers their tomb is nearby. And then the last meditation is within a waterfall. Now, I tried to keep everything, I tried not to include water, but it wanted to come in, so there it is. But they're mostly about sort of mountains and being with the air and different elements. And they're saying you get a gift from gold. And I was recording that today, and I thought, wow, this is interesting. I wasn't expecting this. was thinking, well, you've written this, Kim, so this is what wants to be in the book, to receive this beautiful energy, and there's a throat activation in there from receiving this golden energy, and it's really beautiful energy. So, so first of all, it's all about what things you might like to have as a traveling altar, and then it's the meditative journeys. After each of the meditations, I've got some reflections, journaling questions, just to give you some prompts. I would suggest you get in a journal. It is one of those. It is a sort of a book that's that you're going on journeys with, so you're receiving, and the things you'll receive you can add to everything you already do. So if you set altars up for any of the Sabbaths, you can add more air things, and you can be more conscious with what you're adding to things for the air. Or if you're calling for inspiration, if you're stuck, you can lean into the east, and with the wind and all that energy. Somebody's joining me. Thank you for all those stars. Thank you. And you can tap into, if you're feeling stuck, we're working with this throat chakra, and we're working with the heart and the breath from the lungs through the valves to have a beautiful expression within. I was listening to see where I'm going with that. Okay, and then at the back of the book, the last section, there are some creative ideas. There's a few riddles in here, so there are some riddles in here, and then I do have a little chapter about the riddles, about going a bit deeper. So let me just read you one of the riddles. Let's see if I can find a riddle. This one is for, wait a minute. This one's for Snowdon. And this is the riddle. I am named for the sleep of kings, but within me the flame still sings. They marked my tomb and turned away, yet I blaze with light at the break of day. I hold a truth the bards once knew, trapped in mists of mountain dew. One letter lost, one breath concealed, find me whole and fate is healed. What am I? So there's a few of these riddles that so do you have to physically go to all the pages to read through the book? Or you can visualize. You don't have to go to everywhere physically. I know you're going to Glastonbury, but you can visualize them and call, like astral travel, just visualize them in meditation. So you don't have to physically go to everywhere in the book. The idea is, I know with Janine, that you're going to Glastonbury but you can just go within meditation to these places, and you'll receive them as powerfully as if you were there. In fact, sometimes when you do go to places, I've found you can get so distracted by everything else when you're there that you don't always receive everything you're supposed to receive on the spiritual plane. Now, what else they're going to tell you? So at the back, in the last section, I've got I'm just wondering where this one goes. Oh yes, wait a minute, it's my thought. In the last section, brain, what we've got is 3 or 4 exercises to try and do creatively, if you wish. There's so we talk about Alwyn and the breath and art. So receiving Alwyn as inspiration from the east and from the rising sun. So I'm training to be a druid. So in all my ceremonies, I go and face the west and ask the west for blessings, etc. and then I go and face the east, and then I'm open from the east to all that may come from the east. So the east brings the energy of inspiration, creativity, poetry, art, all sorts of things. So in the first one, you could try um, writing with Olwyn. So once you've been sort of attuned to the energy of air and the east, you could try automatic writing. You could do a dragon scroll. You might blow with watercolors and paint and just blow through a straw, or paint with a feather, or blow a dandelion seed. So there's different activities that you could do, or try and write poetry to do with the dragons. Now, after this book, you sort of become the keeper of Dragon's Breath. That's sort of like a bit of a title. Yes, so has anybody got any more questions? Yeah, has anybody got any questions? Let me just, I might read to you, just the light's going in here. Words are very important, and you'll find these become more and more important as you go through your spiritual journeys. I was not so aware of all this. Well, I was aware of it, but this is what's coming through with this book. I'm just going to read to you what I've got a bit in here from the dragons about air. The breath of the dragon. I am the dragon of air, the breath of vision. My wings stir the wind and carry messages across realms. I live in the high places, the tall, the peaks, the cliffs, where the sky sings. I guide you to see from above, to awaken your inner sight and sacred purpose. I bring clarity, insight, prophecy. When you stand at the edge of the wind and open your arms, I will meet you. Whisper your dreams into the breeze, and I will carry them to the stars. Works a lot on the throat chakra, on the third eye, and about really expressing what it is to really understand the energy of air, the east, the wind, and the language of our earth. So we start with air, and then the next book will be with a gold dragon I call Shivram, and that is a male dragon, and that's with the element of fire and the south. So that's going into a different energy again. So we'll be working similarly with everything you need for the south, all the things that connect you with the south, like the salamanders. And you might have noticed with all these volcanoes lately, this is the dragons stirring within the land, and they are awakening. And some people have been telling me that they've been having visualizations about dragon eggs and golden eggs. And some of you probably know, because I've probably already told you, that I was writing Diamond White Flame last month, and well, a bit before that, probably in March I was writing that. I was writing that, and this dragon was with me the entire time. But I realised the dragon was with me when I wrote the first book in 2021. And I went back through my notes, and this dragon was with me when I was in Glastonbury in 2019. And probably, I think I saw other colour dragons before, but then I had this white dragon came in with the energy of when I did my High Priestess training, which actually is a bit 2027. So a few years really, came in with this pearlescent white light. And I feel like she's a higher self, a guide. She comes on that really high vibrational realms, and comes this beautiful. And I've just mentioned very briefly in the beginning of the book that when I finished writing Diamond White Flame, I thought, I need to know where this dragon sits, you know. And so I went in the Akashic Records, and I've been very much, I've got some amber here. I've been really tapping in with amber, very called to buy amber. And I had got some blue amber, and I spent a few times in what we call the void and the Akashic Records to find out where I knew this dragon from. And seems like we've lived lifetimes before together, and that is beautiful. And she's coming in like, well, I'm a teacher, facilitator. I was a school teacher before. Now I'm a spiritual teacher. And this dragon is a teacher too. She's coming in to share with us share her knowledge, share her experience. Now let's just connect a little bit with the sound of chimes. So if you're just feeling into sounds, and it's the sounds of chimes and the sounds of the wind elements. You like to imagine you're on top of a mountain or top of a hill, and the wind is all around you, and you can just hear the sounds of birds and maybe wind chimes in the distance, or they carry a beautiful vibration, beautiful sound. And through sound we can often relax. Now this one is a water chime, but they do an air chime, and that one has the tone A on it. And A is our tone for air, and our vowel for air is A, and it's R. I see if I've got enough breath. I ate peanuts the other day, and that was a mistake. Our vowel for A is R, so I'll try and chant R. No doubt that you might have better voice than I have. I never have enough breath, so it's interesting that the dragons are making me slow down, breathe deeper. And with this movement, I try and do it sitting down. The movement you get for R is your hands go over like this, a bit like Qigong, and down. So you go ah, then you go ah, ah, and then you go like this into an A, to ah, and you repeat that 3 times and anchor that in. And so it's a bit of a movement. I channeled all this when I was in Glastonbury. Well, no, in Somerset, in my hometown, my home place. And again, ah, 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 ah. And you can do this action before the meditations if you like, or to practice to really anchoring and holding with air. So you are working with the vowel A, and the A is to do with the breath. And you can, I need to not eat peanuts. They upset my chest the other day, and honestly, probably take me a week to get rid of it. And so let me just move that. So again, the book, there's quite a lot in the book. My tutor did me a forward, and she said there's a lot of information in that book, and there's a lot of journeys to go on. I would say do them in order, but you don't have to do them in order. I would say do audio 1 first, because you meet your dragon then, and so definitely meet your dragon first, and then after audio 1 and 2, that's when you receive. I've told you about the vowel, but that's when you receive the vowel, and that comes to you with the dragon energy. And it's probably like no other dragon book you've ever bought. It might be, it might not be. I don't copy other people. I just bring what spirit brings to me. And I'd like to write fiction, but I'm not there yet. We'd like to do fiction, not there yet. Not there yet. I'm just looking at the clouds because there's some various exercises in there too. Oh, we do have a language called Dracomi, and that is when you can ask the dragons questions, and you can watch for signs, and there's a whole language with dragons speak. With me being a channeler, I receive everything really through my clairs. I have written a blog on clairs, like clairaudience, clair-knowing, clairvoyance, and that's on my website. And there is a link to that in the book, and it's on my website. But I know a lot of you might receive information in totally different ways. So you can ask your dragon questions. I find it absolutely ideal to ask one question at a time and wait for the answer. And there are different things, like a feather might fall at your feet, or if you want real clarity, you can ask for 3 answers. Or you might see, it's difficult, I can't really tell outside because all the clouds are all grey and they are moving, but they're all a bit grey out there. But if you see white smoke, it's a yes. If you see grey smoke, it's a no. If you have a slow moving cloud, it's like a wait. And often the dragons, because they are slower beings than us, they say take your time, no need to rush, and they will tell you when to pause and stop. They do feel that we work, well, I have been lately, but we work at this tremendous speed and trying to get so much in. And they will come and tell you when to pause. And a lot of the pausing is for rest, rejuvenation, but also so we can receive more. So what I was saying before, in this rhythm with the labyrinth of going forward and then pausing, and in that sacred pause you can receive, you can get your answers, because if you're always pushing on, you're not stopping or waiting for answers. I know I've been a bit hyper lately. It has changed since on Sunday I noticed the change, and I've noticed other people are writing on social media about the change and saying there's a heaviness. Well, it's the barometric pressure has changed. Here, Saturn has gone into Aries, and I forget what else has happened. So Neptune has gone into something. We're in the energy of the new moon in Gemini, and Gemini is a twin sign, and Mercury in communication, but there is a bit of a pause at the moment. And I think it might feel a little bit like treading water. Yeah. I'm just feeling that energy, like, when you're in water and everything's still above. I think this is like you see swans, but underneath you see their feet going back like this. We've got to slow that down. That feels like the energy of the moment. No doubt I'll tell you when it's time to go again. But at the moment it's saying, be purposeful, wait, be meaningful, take your time, do things in the right way. Don't try to rush, take time. And that comes very much through with the dragons. So has anybody got any questions? I don't know if I've got anything else in the chat. See if anybody's got any questions. I wasn't really going to do a meditation tonight. There's a beautiful golden energy that you receive. I've just picked up this amber. There's a lovely golden energy that you receive within audio 3. It's from the Snowdonia, from the mountains. And look at these clouds. It's a really gorgeous energy coming in. It's like a beautiful layered energy out there at the moment with these clouds. So I just want to bring in for you whilst we're here to feel into the golden sunlight. Now, we've had a lot of golden sunlight lately, but I want you to feel into the energy of the land and what lies beneath the land. And this is a thread that goes through my books a lot, well, especially in these books, all about the United Kingdom. There's a lovely, beautiful lady in France, a lady called Annie Williams, Annie Williams, and she's writing about dragons and about the Pyrenees, and she is a harpist. She works with music. I can't tell you exactly what she does because I don't really, not really sure. I know that she plays music. I wished I played music. Maybe at this tender age I might still learn music. And she works with notes and tones and dragons, all in the Pyrenees. And I found her book and it was fascinating. And I've read a lot about those areas on my Mary Magdalene journey. And but to me, before I started writing this book, it was like it's where you live. It's not about anywhere else. At the moment, I'm not planning any dragon journeys to Mount Shasta or other places. It's where we live, because let's know the land we live in, as well as maybe places in other places. And no doubt, maybe in 15 years' time, I'll have written about other places, but we shall see where this journey goes. And I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's pre-ordered. And you might have bought my other books, the Diamond White Flame or the Bridget's books. I seem to have written, this is the third book I've written this year. Yeah, now I'm in the pause. I want to bring the second book out not till November, and I need to be really strict. And a couple of people on here might have to say to me, Kim, you're not bringing it out until November. I want this book to land, for people to enjoy it, for people to experience the journeys, the messages, try things out, open their throat chakra, open their third eye chakra, and let that inspiration of Alwyn come through. Now, we do have a Facebook group, and it's really tell you about this. I set the Facebook group up with the intention, Spirit had another planet, the intention of having it just for people within the book. But when I was putting the link in the book, I needed it to be, the rainbow's back now. It's listening to the rainbow. Can't make this up. You really can't. And it's a bit higher now. Yeah. Oh my gosh, can't make this up. So you definitely can't make this up. With the setting with the intention of making it live, so it would be live if people clicked on it from the book, even though the book wasn't published yet. And as soon as I open it, I'm not sure what's going on with my Facebook settings, but I said to my husband, oh, it's gone again now. It's amazing. Just popping in to say, you're on the right track, Kim. Love it. And I said to my husband, there's 30 people in this group. What's going on? This is supposed to be a private group. Anyway, I think there's something in my Facebook settings of one of my pages that it invites you to some of my group pages. I don't really know. I was on holiday in Somerset when this happened. So I just thought, well, let's go with it. Let's leave it. And I think there's about 101 people in the group now. And I will share extra things in there. I'm going to write a short, and it should be a story or another sort of chapter, another sort of additional spiral that's going to be about an area near where I live. So when I've written that, I can add that in. It'll be and other things as we go along. My friend in there, Sally Ann Hamilton, she's a psychic medium, and she's been asking people what colour dragons they've got, and she'll give you answers. She'll tune in and give you answers. I have written a blog about the colours of dragons, so that's on my website. Also written a blog about listening to the wind. The other day the trees were all going crazy. I think that was on, bring it down, on Sunday. They're all going absolutely crazy. So about listening to the wind, listening to the birds, and really tapping into that energy of this air wind element. Now near where I live there's a place called Drakelow, and that Drakelow comes from Dragon's Mount, and back in about, oh, the rainbow's here again, I can't believe it, and the sky's clearing. I honestly can't believe this. The sky is becoming, there's blue in the sky now as I've got this rainbow. Yeah, see you at the weekend, Donna. Yeah, thank you for coming and chatting. 50-50, just as you're saying. See, I'm having a, just for friends and local people, just a gathering on Saturday. And oh, that rainbow. So at Drakelow, there used to be a big house then. It was owned by the same family for a long time. And there was a family there called Dracan, Dracan. And there's been a load of mysteries about the place to do with Saint Modwin and something in the that was in the old myths and legends. But I'm going to go and walk on that land, and it's funny because my husband worked on that land. There was a big power station there, and my father worked on that land. So there's something telling me about that land and about that. So I'm going to go and tap into that land. I've been looking at the aerial pictures, working out where the dragons could have landed, because I knew where the house was, and they have these beautiful sunken gardens. And then there's a big nature reserve, but there's a big new housing estate on it. So I might have to go and have a park up on the housing estate and have a walk around, have a feel into the land. But it's very disrupted at the moment. And this is maybe why the dragons are highlighting this, because the land is ancient, of course, all land is. But when they're building houses after houses, churning the soil up, a lot of things happening. The land needs healing. And we as dragon flame keepers, dragon air keepers, dragon earth keepers, etc., we can go and help heal the land. And this is something that we can do as from the dragons, and we can take them with us, and they'll tell us where to go. So this is the book, Dragon Sacred Spiral. And the first journey is at Glastonbury, and there are 2 meditations to go with that. There's a picture of me looking a little bit younger, don't we all? Don't we all put these pictures on when we look younger? This is on Amazon. If you're in the UK, you can order a pre-order from me, and you get the little extras, which I was showing you some of those earlier. You get some incense. I haven't got that up here. You get a little bell. Just get them out again. They're just little charms, but they're nice to have in a little bag. Get a little bag. You get a compass, and you can always use this if you're perhaps asking Spirit, where shall I go? You can throw these down. Now this is what we used to do in the old days. We'd have different pieces of things, and we'd throw them down and do a reading from them, whichever way they're facing. So you might throw the compass down, and if it's facing, this one's facing that way, south, that's facing south, and the key is facing south, so it's telling me to go to the south next. Well, we can read if we can do these with charms, and the bells to call your dragon. And then I've got some little tiny dragons, and they're not very big, I must admit, but they weren't necessarily very expensive. It's just I've not sourced where to buy a bigger dragon yet. Got a few crystals in my shop. I mean, this is gorgeous. I've got to find out where you can get these from the wholesalers. Anyway, right. So I want to say thank you all for listening. The book and the little things is it's $16.99 on my website, and it's a bit more expensive than say just a paperback because you've got access to the 8 audios, and they're on my website. But you need the code from out of the book. If anybody, yeah, you need the code from out of the book. I've also put in the book that my friend does dragon bioresonance. She's in that Facebook group, Dragon Spiral Reflections, it's called, and she does some stickers, and she'd painted pictures of dragon eyes, and they relate to all the elements. So she's got one for air, and she makes stickers with the bioresonance energy of an air dragon. And then she also does journals, and they're on Amazon. So it's a picture of the dragon on the front, but lines. I haven't got time at the moment to make a journal. I'm thinking about making a generic journal for all the books and some oracle cards. But well, I will be probably making that. Might start that in the next few weeks, and then I'll be working on book 2, all about fire and the south. And when I did my prediction with those little things, it was telling me to go to the south next. Well, the next place I'm going away is Anglesey, so more Druid land there. That's not quite the south. Right, I'm going to say goodnight because I'm waffling on now. Thank you for joining me. Thank you if you've pre-ordered the book. It's available, as I say, on Amazon. If it's not sold in your country, you can maybe contact me. I might be able to send it to you. Yeah, thank you, Jenny. Good night. Yeah, good night. Good night. Good night from me. Good night from Dreanu. That's my dragon, Dreanu. Good night from all the dragons and from the energy of your soul, divine source and light. God bless you. Good night.